All right.
Hey, people. It's your boys, the Epic Misfits, back in the building. Keith and Troy, your favorite Misfits. Hey, tonight is going to be an interesting night. Now, we're going to give a few minutes before everybody can join us and join the conversation, so we'll give a few people to join the chat. But
that looks awful.
And in the meantime, what looks awful?
I felt like it looked awful, but it's
You just
okay.
said, I mean, you on the show now. You
I know, right?
You just said it in the mic. What looks
I know, right? That's the way it looks. It looked like a little crooked there
What
sometimes.
looks crooked? Say it.
Nah, it's good. We're good. We're good.
Something looks crooked.
We got somebody. Oh, we got a chat already?
Evening. All right, what's
Evening,
going on?
evening.
What's going on? You know how it is. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to pull up the live chat on my phone. So if you see me looking at my phone, that's what it is. I'm trying to
right.
see the live chat as we go.
So,
Go ahead and invite somebody in there, August. So because tonight we are going to be talking that noise tonight about the sport of waddle. All good things, but we're trying to get some clarity and some understanding about what's going on in the direction of this sport that we love. Its growth, or if it's declining, or what needs to happen.
all the fun stuff.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So the voice of the little people will be heard tonight, and that's exactly what we want to do. Hopefully we'll say something important that you want to, I guess impotent is not a good thing. Important that you want to repeat and tell people about. You know what I mean?
That's right. That's what we always try to do.
Absolutely.
So before we jump in, let's just give people a minute to join.
Okay.
Let's kind of do a little weekend recap because we
Weekend
threw
recap.
Sunday
Oh my God.
and had League Sunday. So how do you feel it went for you?
I have mixed feelings, right? I think overall I did okay. I finally started finding the bullseye again. I felt like I was allergic to it in the first week. The second week, I felt like I did pretty good. I'm still about 60% or so for kill shots. So obviously I got to find that a little more. A little worried about my strategy, but I do need to make sure I implement it more.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I want to get my scores up. I want to get
Of
to the
course.
point where I'm going
I
up.
think everybody wants to get their scores up. But
True, but I want to do it while trying to go up for as many kills as possible.
Right.
But I may have to abandon that before it gets
I was
too
about
far.
to say, are you going to go 100% kill?
Yeah, I think I'm going to abandon the 100% kills.
All right, so
I think I've already got, 13 of them already?
14 because we played it. No, 16.
But I think I've only thrown 13 of them.
Oh, really? I don't know. I didn't look.
Yeah, I have
So
to,
let's go ahead and just
How'd you do?
throw this out there because we have a new thrower in the Clayton League,
Okay.
and this man came out and is 16 for 16 on kill shots.
Oh, my God.
And if he is in this,
He's Thor. That's what I call him.
if he's in the chat or in watching right now, huge shout out to Brian Cox. He is on fire in this local league.
I don't know why you keep calling him Brian. He's Thor.
Thor, it's
Thor.
automatic, the machine.
I'm telling you.
There's so many we could do, but
Yeah, this guy is unreal.
when it
What is his average right now? His average is a 62.
disconnected.
No, just connected.
Oh, he got me scared for a minute there.
Yeah, he can't be
A little
doing that.
Yeah.
Disconnected what?
No, it just connected.
Yes, he is the man.
Yes,
That
so-
dude, 62 average right now.
62 average right now
And
through
second
8
place,
games.
This is to tell you how weak our league is. Second place is a 53.
I don't know if I'd say it's weak
That's
or
weak. It's a jump from 62 to 53.
or is he just that good of a thrower and is actually throwing what he's capable of?
I'm not saying he's not good. I'm saying we're not good. Somebody close should be closer to like 58, 55, 56, not 53.
That's tough, man. And that's where we're going to dive into this because that's that gap we're trying to talk about.
I'm going to get to
into
56, 57. I'll
But
tell you that right now.
I had to give him a shot. Oh, yeah, of course. I'm going to try to get mine up too. But look. He's shaking it.
See, that's
He's
what I'm
playing
saying.
with the desk and the whole thing's shaking.
That's what I'm saying.
My
That's
average
what I'm
is a
saying. Look,
53.
I'm at a
week.
53 right now. Now, normally I'm somewhere between a 53 and a 54. On any given day, I can get hot and go 61, 63s, that kind of thing.
I am at a 49 right now. First week was a 47. I'm basically now going 100% kills, see what I could get, see how many I can hit. And
Do you want to know what your kills is?
I'm like 6 for 13, 14, or 5 for 13, 5 for 14, something like that.
6 for 15. 40%.
6 for 15, which
40%. So that
isn't
means,
bad.
No, it's not that bad.
Because I think the most I've ever hit in one is 19.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah. He's laughing, but if you really look at it.
No, right now I'm 7 for 13. 7 for 13, so 54%, barely above 500. But, I'm dialing in with a new axe. Shout out to Heavy Rotation. Like I said, I've been using the 18-inch axe and trying to get better with that and getting comfortable with it. So it's a new axe this season. And so to be at a 53 with a new axe, 18-inch handle versus 17, I feel pretty good. I feel like I'm starting to lock in a little bit because week 1 I was at a 52, and I was able to push it up to a 53.2. So,
and I went back to my original Odell custom axe. Why, I really don't know. Just kind of bouncing back and forth. Changed up the throw again. Like the way this feels a lot better. Was a lot more consistent. Able to hit blue dots a little better, in my opinion. But, yeah, I just, was thinking about it, and I was like, dude, Brian is on fire, man.
Yeah, but he's on another level. There's
100% kills.
There's a reason he's on going to Worlds. Like,
right.
He earned that bid. That boy is a monster. I think he's realistically though. I think he's going to probably finish somewhere about a 59 to 58. That's what I think realistically, because the likelihood. I'm not saying he can't go 100% kills the whole season.
Right.
But you're talking about let's make sure you're using that new X. I sure am. I will. That's the reason I'm using it right now. That's the reason I'm using it right now, to get used to it, because I want to make sure when I'm going to the Pro-Am, I am ready to cook all you guys, because I'll be familiar with my axe. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
And but no, absolutely. The likelihood of him going 56 for 56, I'm not saying it can't happen.
If it was me, when I get to 28, I'm done.
No, but I think he's trying to maintain a 60 average, and I think realistically,
in order to do that, you have to go up.
Right. But I think realistically, what he's going to wind up doing is staying down, because his bullseye game is like ridiculous. Go up once, hit it, and then he can make. Because if he goes up once and hits,
he's going up twice.
I got it. I'm just saying, if he chooses to go up once after he's gotten his 28, he can throw easily a 58 to a 60 based upon the way he throws, because he almost never throws a 4.
Yeah.
So he could maintain his 60 average, 58 to 60, reasonably well.
That's true. I can see that.
Now, that's, again, assuming he sticks to the strategy. Because, week to week, some weeks you're just not feeling it. Now, in the first 2 weeks, he's been on fire.
Right.
But
the first game he started off a little slow.
Oh, you talking
second game, yeah, because it was against me. Because I think the whole game we hit two sixes the whole game, but he hit both of his kills, so that helps tremendously as well.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, based upon the way he typically throws, he will. I think he's going to continue to go up anyway. So he wants the world's bid. He may be a little more conservative than no, but he's already got the world's bid. Argus. He's already got a world's bid at this point. I think at this point he's looking for a better score to help him with seeding at the world bid.
Yes.
And so if he can finish with a 59 to a 60 average, it could possibly put him
in a better bracket.
In a better bracket. So he'll finish being the top 20, top 15, and then that puts him at a better seeding than, say, if he's number 50.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep. So
I think that's what it is because, everything is about who you play. When we played in the Pro-Am, if I had played the people you played, I'd have been out.
Yeah.
Because they threw 62s and 63s. No, Brian, Bezo, he's been pro all year. He's been throwing 57s, 58s in every season.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he actually got his world bid in the previous season with a 58.
Yeah.
I think is what got him.
I think it was previous.
And for me, I was hoping to get a 58, but then when I realized reality came in and I was throwing the way I was throwing, I was like, I got to pray that everything goes right when we go to Wisconsin.
I know, right?
Yep.
How
many people we got?
Let's see if we gave everybody some time to get in. We got.
Yeah, I don't need that kind of negativity in my life. We only got 2 right now, and I think I'm one of them.
That's about right.
Yep. Let me see. I'm gonna share it one more time in the deal. Argus, if you can do the same. and share it into the Waddle group because people were very passionate about this
Yeah, I mean, I think the one post had
yesterday. So I would love
like
to have
60 comments. The other post had
Mhm.
like 40 comments or
Yep.
50 answers, something like
So
that.
I would love to get some more engagement about the subject that we're talking about tonight because it was one that was, it was pretty heated. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
we're definitely heated by many different people.
Oh yeah.
So, while we wait, we will throw in a little clip here of our biggest fan who
Yeah.
made a video.
You want to join the clip now? And
That's only like, that's not even a minute.
okay, all right, throw it in there. Once it's done, and we'll jump right back in.
That's right. So if you will, enjoy the little video of our biggest fan who made a video for us as well. It is my son, so a little biased, but it's a pretty awesome video. It'll give everybody a little more time to join in as well, hopefully, and get ready. So
All right.
y'all enjoy.
Hey Troy, it's Keegan. It's your biggest fan. I love the Epic Misfits show. Hey Troy, it's Keegan. It's your biggest fan. I love the Epic Misfits show. Hey Troy, it's Keegan. It's your biggest fan. I love the Epic Misfits show. Hey Troy, it's Keegan. It's your biggest fan. I love the Epic Misfits show. Hey Troy, it's Keegan. It's your big.
All right,
All right.
We are back. Your favorite Misfits, Keith and Troy, back in the building. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are talking about the growth or decline, depending upon how you
How you
looking
want
at
to
it,
look at it? Yep.
of the sport of axe throwing. And we're looking at it from a Waddle perspective.
Yes.
I'm sending out a couple invites here real quick. Get some people in here. Let me see here. Let me see.
And if you are here, please chat it up. Make sure you're commenting in either the Facebook Live that is live on my profile, or you're commenting on our YouTube channel, because we're here to answer your questions. We'll answer all of them, and I think this is going to be a juicy topic.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started on it while people come in. So recently, in the Waddle discussion group, we saw a couple posts that had to do with the growth or potential decline of Waddle.
Yeah.
The question was posed: do you think the sport is growing or declining? Right, and there were a lot of discussions that came up about if we were growing or not.
Right.
Some people were kind of attacking other people in the groups, and
Yeah.
there were some personal discussions in there.
It got
But
heated.
so what we want to do tonight is kind of open up the floor for you guys to chat and to comment, and also as we give our little 2 cents about what we believe in regards to the growth or decline of Waddle as a whole, and what we believe the solution is. Because no matter what, if it's growth, what's the solution? How do we keep it going? And if it's declining, how do we slow it down? Right? So those are the things that we basically want to get into and talk
speed it
about
up.
tonight. So let me pull this back up the chat and make sure I'm not missing anything in the chats in case you
Yeah, we
guys-
need to pull up the Facebook one too, so we have both. YouTube, we'll be able to see.
I can't see the panel over there for the YouTube, so that's what's going on.
Oh, is the camera in the way?
Yep. Hey guys, just real quick before we keep talking, how's the sound? Can you guys hear us real good? Like if you put a thumbs up or type a number 1 or anything in the chat, just let us know how the sound is. No reverb or anything. How we looking? Anybody in the chat?
I don't even know if there's anybody in it.
All right. There's people in the chat. That's what I'm asking.
Since it's
Let me see here.
But yes,
See, they're saying there's an echo on my side, and Keith is fine. And I don't know how we can get the echo out of mine because we've kind of had this echo thing going.
It could be that boom stand too. It's just giving it a little
It
echo
could
maybe.
it's got to be
But
the mic itself because we've taken the cover off. We've changed the pattern. The gain is almost
you
non-existent.
could try to turn it down some more.
Let me see the gain. To the right is up, down. Let's see, turn it all the way down. Do you still hear the echo, Argus? Like, is it pronounced, or is it just like it's there, but I can deal with it?
I don't know.
I know there's a little delay in what we're saying.
Yeah, which is
So-
fine, but we can figure it out some more too. I think it's better than it was, that's for sure.
Yeah. So, just talking in general. Let me make sure it could be this. Make sure this is not giving them feedback. So, okay, so it's barely there. All right. So you wanna start us off as far as what you believe?
Yeah, I can. So the post was made by
Yeah, don't worry about who made the post. Just-
by us because we wanted to see, because I mean I'll go ahead and say we're ambassadors of the sport. We love the sport. We want the sport to grow. We want it to be better. And we were kind of just seeing what everybody's opinions and thoughts were. So my honest opinion, and I've seen it from both sides because I've worked the venue side and I've also thrown. I have to say that it's a decline, but a very, very, very slow decline.
Now, what do you think is causing the decline?
I mean, obviously, financially is pretty much the biggest thing for most people. Most people just don't have the funds laying around to go throw an axe or get into a new hobby. You know, I mean, everything's expensive, obviously, you know, and that's one of the biggest things I said that I saw in the comments was look at other pro sports or look at other sports. Yes, in a way, but also look at baseball, look at basketball. If you try to go play basketball, you might spend $100-$200 on a pair of shoes. That's going to be it. You know, shorts, you're going to have normal stuff, but axe throwing, unless you have a venue close by that's hosting a tournament, most basketball tournaments, as a team, you can get fundraised. It's easier for teams and groups of people to get fundraiser than it is individuals. Because it's almost, I feel like people see it as us, like, individually asking for handouts. Where if it's a team, and the reason I say that, too, is because I used to coach travel baseball. When we would fundraise, it was easy. I mean, we could literally go out and say, hey, you know, these 10U, 11U, 12U kids are trying to go play in this tournament here. Is anybody willing to donate us money? And people are flying off the wall. Aunts, uncles, grandmas, cousins, friends, businesses, all sorts of stuff. So I think funds is the biggest thing, and I think Vin said it best. You know, it's $2,000 before you throw an axe.
Yeah.
And that I feel like is the biggest issue in the sport. My other issue is payouts. And this is a touchy topic for a lot of people. The reason I say it's an issue is look at, for example, there's a local cornhole league that is down the street from us. First place, so buy-in is $25. It's a blind individual buy-in, which means you're solo, on your own, you play through the tournament. $25, right? The winner gets, I think it was $250 was the payout for first, $150 for second, third was $75. So right there, if you won, you've made your money to go back next week, go back the next week, and still have some left over. Buy yourself a new set of bags. What is the most you've ever won in a tournament or in a marathon?
Now, to be fair, before we go too far, the overhead in an axe venue is far greater than that of a cornhole because you got to buy boards and the cost of the venue to get into that venue. So again, let's say you look at you get 15 people right? We pay $150 to $100
Yeah.
a person, and you're saying I'm gonna give out half the pot, essentially. Half the pot is gonna go to first, second, third kind of stuff.
Right.
All right. What is the overhead? Meaning for the venue, how much did they have to pay to supply the boards for all the lanes that they have, plus the road, being able to swap out boards when the time comes, and still also be able to pay their personnel. So I think the overhead when you're dealing with a axe tournament is far greater than what you're dealing with a cornhole. So it's not, almost not apples to apples.
Right. I mean, I do understand that, and I get that as well. But I still think payouts is a huge issue.
Yeah. So
I mean, because most, and this is not a knock to any venue or any tournament or anything, but most give out trophies, which is fine. They're really cool. I love the ones we've won so far and that I have gotten. They're hanging up. Like, I display them all the time, post pictures about them. Like, I love them. But for someone in a competitive sport and competitive aspect of it, you are not getting much incentive to do it.
By the way, guys, if you hear anything that we're saying that you don't agree with, or maybe you do give kudos to, feel free to put something in the chat and get some engagement in here. I want you guys to definitely don't just listen to us. Make sure you're commenting in there, because we'd love to hear your feedback, because that's part of what tonight is. So for me, I'm looking at it from this perspective.
Oh,
go ahead.
So I got the greatest thing that Waddle needs to do.
Oh, we'll get the solution.
Yeah. No, that's what I was saying.
Don't forget it.
Oh no, I won't.
As far as I believe, the sport as a whole is declining, but not necessarily dying. And let me explain. The reason the sport blew up in the first place was it came right out of COVID. Like, it was already going before COVID, but there was an explosion right after COVID, because people were clamoring to do things to get it done, right? They were clamoring to have activities, right? And I think it started dying because people started having more freedom, more options. And I also believe that many of the act venues did not market themselves as a social house. I think they market themselves strictly as a axe venue, and axe throwing is not something that people think about. They don't aspire to it. They don't see it on TV regularly. It's not like a gymnasium where you're going to have a basketball court, a football field, and a recreational with something that they see constantly. So they're thinking, I want to go participate in that. So these are niche. It's a niche sport, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So as a result, I saw that.
Yeah.
It says, as a result, I do believe that there's going to be a natural decline, almost like the stock market. You had this peak, and you're going to get this dip that comes in and then come back. I also think what's going to hurt going forward, because year over year, we might be doing just as good when it comes to participation and within leagues and stuff year over year. I think where a lot of people are looking at is the future. Is it dying? And because they're looking at the rules that are to come. And I believe, in my opinion, the reason that people have this big hang up with the rules is they didn't have anything to say about it. There was a handful of people who were catering to, let's say, the top 100 or whatever, or a minority group that said 15 feet. I want you to consider that the majority of axe throwers were more than okay with the extra dots. Mm-hmm. They had to hang up with the 15 feet. They said, you can change the dots all you want, just don't add the 15 feet, right? Yeah. And there were pros that even felt the same way. Just don't add the 15 feet. What I don't understand is why is the people who are making these rules associated with Waddle or whatever committee, why are they that stubborn and hung up that they couldn't give the concession of the 15 feet? If you get rid of the 15 feet, you'll watch a lot of the sentiment change. And as a whole, people start calming down, because look how much change you made. That's a lot of change at one time. So if you wind up getting rid of the 15 feet, you gave a concession. Now you give it an opportunity to whatever Streamlabs says, refrain from the long messages. Don't worry about that.
It's our bot. It's our chat bot. It's fine.
We'll read them out and whatever. But I'm going to catch. They said the sport's biggest issue in division is extra bulls kills was even playing. Right. And so the issue that I see is the 15-foot line. You were so adamant about putting the 15-foot line in. You didn't care about the average thrower. the beginner thrower, right? And sure, they told us that we didn't have to throw it. You don't have to throw it. You have the option not to do it. But it's hanging out there. And most of us are aspiring to be better. We want to be able to play with
Right.
advanced players. We want to be able to do those things. And when you basically alienate everybody and said, you suck, you stay over there, and we're going to have this minority group, this specialized group that's over here, I think that's where you lost a lot of people, even
Definitely.
pros that looked at it and said, man, you just muddied the water so bad that I don't have a realistic way of knowing who's better. What happens if all of a sudden for me, who's in 53, 54 average guy, I stay at the 12-foot line, Brian, who's an advanced guy, steps back to 15 feet, I start whooping up on him, and their thought is, man, look at the scores. Troy's better than Brian. Why? Because you can't distinguish between the 15-foot score and the non-15-foot
Well,
score
we
on the scoreboard.
Right, and we don't know that yet because we don't know if they're putting in two scoreboards.
Okay,
Or
so-
two numbers.
In my
But
local
what
league, they're not going to
Argus said,
What did Argus say?
he just said, talking about cornhole, the game you do see on TV is what you play.
Right.
Now, and said now that won't be the case with the pros and the AMs. And that is honestly the best combination and best thing that I've heard yet. You know, when you look at darts on TV, that's what you play. When you look at bowling on TV, that's what you play. When you look at baseball, that's what you play. Basketball,
Right. And
that's what you
why I
play.
say do it for all
This is
or
going to be
nothing.
completely different.
I just think the 15-foot line is the breaking point
So
of the changes. And if
I'm
you get rid
iffy
of
on the 15-foot.
Well, and here's the thing. I'm going to throw the 15-foot line because it's available, right? I'm gonna, at least I'll tell you what I will do. In my local league, I'm probably going to throw the 12-foot line. But in practice, I'm going to practice the 15-foot line because I know there's going to be tournaments I'm going to get into where I have to throw that 15-foot line, right? However, I would, and I don't like the fact that you've essentially made Big Axe, you know, give me a little Big Axe is what you've done. If you
Yeah.
keep it at the 12-foot line, let it be what it's going to be. Let the dots be what they're going to be. The pros are going to distinguish themselves. They're the better players. That's the reason they're the pros. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Leave the line where it's at. Let the sport gradually get used to the change. Then make the next move if 15 feet seems reasonable. But if the general public is screaming at you, get rid of the 15-foot line. Get rid of the 15-foot line. Why not get rid of the 15-foot line? Leave everybody at 12. Let us get used to the new dots. That way you have more time to iron out the details and decide how you're going to introduce the 15-foot line where
Right.
people can handle it and digest it. Because to me, I just believe that this is just stubbornness and it's inconsiderate of those at the top. When you can hear the vast majority screaming at you, begging you not to put the 15-foot line in. And even some people saying I'm walking away from the sport in large part because of the 15-foot line. Like, man, why are you so determined to put the 15-foot line in? Just leave it at the 12, add the dots. It's going to change the scoring dramatically. Because if you miss it, you miss a bullseye, you hit a 3.
Well, they have a ring around it now, too.
Even so, if you missed it, you wind up getting a 5.
5.
Most of us can't even hit the bullseye in the middle consistently. We're hitting 4s. We're hitting 5s. So imagine if you miss, because remember, the ring on the outside, it just shrunk the bullseye. It's still the size
yeah.
of the original bullseye
Right.
that we're used to from this year. And so imagine if you got people who can't even hit that and they're throwing 5s. If I throw on the outside and I can't even hit that ring, I'm probably going to hit on the outside of it, which means
Yeah.
I'm going to hit a 3. And so already the scores are going to be crazy as it is.
Yeah.
There was no reason to add the 15-foot line to add injury to insult. You could have left it, and you were still going to see some wild scores, give people time to catch up to the sport a little bit, and then decide if 15-foot is necessary. I just feel like when the vast majority looks at you and says, I've got no problems with anything except, and then when the majority is telling you, please get rid of the 15-foot. If you get rid of the 15-foot, I'll adjust to the rest of your rules. Then why?
Yeah.
Why are you that determined to put in the 15-foot line? Explain it to the rest of us. Clue us into the big picture as to why you have to do it now.
Right.
Because as of this moment, I don't see why you have to do it now. Because adding those extra bullseyes to the outside, you've already helped out venues. Because now they don't get this one board that gets chewed up.
Yeah.
You spread out the wealth. It takes longer to rotate the boards. You're going to wind up getting more usage out of the boards. Life is going to go on. It's going to help you, right?
Yeah.
The sport as a whole, those who are involved, they're involved and they're going to stay involved and they continue to grow. But if you've got literally, they have told you the 15-foot line is my breaking point. Why can't you give in to the majority and say, you know what? We'll hold off on the 15-foot for one more year. Let's try out the new dots, see how that goes, because it may not even be necessary. And
Yeah.
then we may add 15 foot if it's sudden death. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so that's what I'm saying, because I look at IATF. IATF throws regular hatchet, and then if they go into overtime, they throw the big axe
The big ass.
for one throw. So what if you did something like that? Say, look, as a concession, what we'll do is if you have to go to who sucks less, you got to go to 15 feet to throw it. Then, okay, I bet money. People will say, okay, I'll give in for that. That's somewhere meeting me in the middle.
Yep.
But at this point, it feels like those who are making the rules don't give a damn about anybody else in the sport but whoever made the rules. Because the right person is not complaining. The rest of us apparently are not the right people.
Yeah, maybe.
We can't be the right people. You can't tell me if Lucas Johnson jumped up today and said, I don't want to do 15 feet. He alone could probably get some movement off of that and say, you know what, I'm not doing it. If you get 2 or 3 of the top guys and who's in the top 10 and says, no, I don't want to do it, they're going to stop. Meanwhile, 300 of us who are in the top, who in below 100, we speak and they're like, get used to it, guys, suck it up. That means you.
But isn't that how everything is, though?
But that's the thing. And so as a result, you're looking at a sport that is very individual, based.
Oh, yeah,
it's
right.
not team based. It is out of pocket everywhere we go.
Mm-hmm.
You're almost making no money, which means people are literally already doing this for the love of the game.
Yep.
So, man, you can't work with me more. It's not like you're paying out these major payouts.
Yeah.
Even when you're giving out payouts, more times than not, people are taking a loss.
Yeah. Oh,
I've
yeah.
gone to venues where I won $300 and I was still offsetting costs because it cost me $1,000 to $2,000 to get there.
Get there, yeah. Right.
So yeah, I'm.
And that's what I was saying was I think the biggest one of the main issues is payouts. I know Lacey said, we'll get to some of the comments right now. Lacey said that if an AM beats a pro, there'll be an asterisk next to it.
See,
So basically, but like I said, if they create 2 leaderboards, I could see that. But, and I mean, our venue would do it.
how does that muddy the water in your local league then? So how do you decide in your local league, hey, he threw advanced, he didn't throw advanced. What if he's the only one throwing advanced in that group? So he wins his league. So and then everybody else had to win theirs. He's a leader of one. So how do you do that payout? How do you do that trophy?
Yeah.
I feel like, again, why muddy
Well,
the
technically, he
waters?
wouldn't be able to throw pro. He would have to throw him.
See?
Well, no, he
No,
wouldn't
he'd
have
still
to
throw
throw.
it. He could
He
throw it
wouldn't be
advanced
able to throw advanced because there wouldn't be enough people.
No, he can do it. He doesn't have to have enough people to do it. He can declare the advanced rules from the start and throw.
Yeah, but
against
you have to
amateurs.
have so many people to do a league.
No. But here's the thing: when they do a regular league, it doesn't matter if you're advanced and it's a mixed group.
Yeah, like right now it is, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what they're going to do when they do the 15-foot line, right? And I still don't understand the motivation to go pro, other than that you're going to pay a lot more. Being real.
Actually, they posted that and said that that's not true either.
What?
That being pro, you don't get paid out as much.
No. I didn't
Yeah.
say you don't get paid out as much. I'm saying you pay more over time. So, for instance, I'm forced to pay $300, $400 to play 4 events, and I may only be wanting to play the one. So I have to buy, and as a pro, when I go to enter a thing, you force me to pay more money. So you punished me
That was
to
only
be pro.
that was only for PLS.
Okay, so tell me any pro event where they do not pay for multiple events in order to get in. I haven't seen one yet.
Yeah,
I ain't seen one yet.
one we just did
Where?
at Armadillo.
That wasn't a pro event.
No, they don't have pro events. The
Then
only
that's-
pro event is PLS.
That tells me you did not listen to what I just said. I said, tell me one pro event where they have to pay out and they don't have to pay for all the events. And then you named an amateur.
Oh yeah, no.
So that's what I'm saying. At the, end
The
of
only
day,
one you have
when
to
they
do is
pro-
Pro League Series.
No, it's not true, because whenever you want to doing the pro tournaments. So let's take a look at these pro tournaments that they go into, right? So if you go into a pro whatever they're going to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a pro series. That's
So like the last one, see, even Lacey said that's only PLS. Like the one that they just
Okay.
did at Krabby X, you didn't have to do it. If they did a pro one and another one, you could just pay and play what you want.
okay.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. Then what's the benefit to being pro? Then?
I've said this for the longest time, and I've tried telling
Bragging rights, that's
you that exactly, and that's what I've tried telling you. That's why I said
So tell
F
me,
the
so
the
tell me
blue
what's-
dots. F that. Get your bid through circuit points. Get to Worlds. Make your name. That's it.
Okay,
And
so
PLS
next
is different from Waddle, yes.
Yeah, all right, so
but
tell
all
me,
the Waddle events
then
are
what's the
you pay
advantage?
for what you play.
So what's the advantage for people to go to 15 feet? Why would anybody declare advanced rules and go to 15 feet? What's the benefit?
That's what we're waiting to find out.
So
Because they haven't said that.
but see, then again, this is all the ambiguity about what they're putting out there. There's so
So I
many
think-
mixed messages and
yes,
assumptions.
that's the
and
biggest
nobody's
thing.
coming out to have a clear conversation with
Well,
the masses. They're just
I
putting
know-
out these rules and saying, "Hey, here's the rules that you guys voted on." Who voted on? Because I didn't vote on no rule.
They did have a little thing go out, but
To where?
it was in the Waddle discussion group, and I think they emailed it out at one point too a
And
while
they know
back.
a lot of that stuff goes to people's spam. Because even when I got my jersey stuff, it went to spam. If it
Right.
had not been for people posting that stuff, I would have never known that was even coming. So
Yeah.
again, they didn't put out a poll because I'm on the Waddle page pretty much every day. There was
Yeah.
no poll on there voting
There
for
was,
the
I
rules.
think it was a Google form, like a survey, but it was a while ago. But I have seen Tyler Flynn come out
somebody
and
needs
talk.
Somebody, if you got access to that, please send that to me because I want to see it because I have not.
Yeah,
seen
see, they
that.
did, and only 300 people filled it out. That's the point. That's
Okay,
the,
so they did it and only 300 people filled it out. And then the masses have been in droves talking about, hey, we don't want to do this.
Well, what if
Why wouldn't you reconsider? That's
if
what I'm
those
saying.
300 people put it out and you had over half of them, you had 151
Did they
said
put
that
out,
they
did
don't
put out
mind
the-
15 feet, then
Did they put out the results or did they just tell us that's what it was?
I don't know if they put out the results or not. But I have seen Tyler Flynn come
And I
out.
believe it is fake news.
Right.
And that they have rigged the
But
election
Tyler-
against us.
So I don't know who all is working on it. I think Mike Morton is in it. I know Tyler Flynn is because Tyler's came out and put a bunch of videos out on the new rules and like new stuff, and I've yet to really watch them, like actually sit down, pay attention, and watch and listen. And I think I need to do that for one, so we can kind of see where we're at. But
And I think that may be part of the problem too, is that we're having uninformed conversations.
yeah,
And
well, I
because-
wouldn't even say
and
conversations. I just think I think either Mario or somebody, like they've done before, he puts out a video talking about everything. They need to put out a video, either email it to us or something that they send to us so we can see.
And Tyler did put out a video where he talks about the difference between advanced and
Right.
the amateur rule because he said it's not a pro or
They're
amateur.
getting rid of the pro,
right.
which
So-
I think is good.
but I don't.
I think there
because
should
again,
be an advanced, an
be-
amateur, and then maybe one in the
but
middle.
what I believe is unfair. Again, is tell me.
You're still stung up on the 15-foot.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Because that 15 foot is the difference between you saying amateur and you saying advanced. And it's also going to be a hang up because now you don't really know who the best is.
How? If you hit from 15 and you hit from 15 and I score better than you, I'm better than you.
So if you decide to play against me, I go advanced rules at 15, you stay at 12, and you do better than me. Are you better than me?
No.
But how
You
do I-
got an asterisk. And your score, like I don't know if it's true or not. Hopefully they'll have a division. Hopefully, because they are working on the Waddle website and page
let me
like
ask you a
crazy.
question.
So hopefully they'll have an
if
advanced
they can see this
division.
much confusion, and you speak for them, I guess, with the association, right?
Yeah,
If-
I'll speak for him because
so
I don't
let's
mind
say-
the 15 foot because
Okay,
it's
so-
like
so-
Big X but
all right,
smaller.
so let's
But I
play it this way then.
understand it because
Pros and
I've
cons.
seen handle makers and people are like, yo, this is, and unless you can figure it out quick, you're going to break handles. We have been lucky enough to figure it out. And we really haven't practiced it that much.
Okay.
You hit 2 blue dots the other day with it.
Okay, so here's
Granted, it wasn't the new board, but from 15 feet, you hit 2 blue dots.
okay.
So, I'm not saying that you're going to suck. I'm not saying you're going to be the best, but it's capable. It's doable. Should they have all done it at once? No. I agree with that.
And
I
that's
think
my-
they
and that's
should have
my
taken
pushback.
steps.
And that's my pushback.
And I think they should have took 2024 to do the new bullseyes.
Yep.
And some tournaments do a prototype 2025 rule with the 15 foot.
And that's what I've been getting back to.
I give you and agree with, because I do feel like that's a lot of change at one point. That's almost like taking a pitcher's mound and going from 90 feet to 120 feet, doubling the distance and saying, hey,
or even next season from 90 to 93 feet, it still makes a difference.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, exactly.
So, again, but this is where I'm looking at it and saying the same thing. I think we are in agreement on that part.
Yeah.
Is the hang up, as everybody can see, is the 15-foot line. Right. If you can just take out the 15-foot, delay it for a year.
Yeah.
Just delay it for a year.
Delay it, yeah.
And then you wind up slowing down the arguments, slowing down the conversations, wind up seeing how the sport does, and say the following year, or introduce some level of saying overtime throws will be thrown from 15 feet for everyone, not just the.
Lacey just said they did this on purpose, and I've heard a lot of people saying that, and the reason I've heard is that they wanted to change this now so they didn't have to change it again for the next 5 years.
Because they have no way of knowing if they need to change it over the next 5 years. That's bullshit. Because if you wind up telling me that I'm not making this change because I don't want to have to make a change in 5 years, as the sport evolves, you may have to make a number of changes. You have no way of knowing if you're going to be able to or have to change the sport.
Why do you have to change is my thing.
Exactly. Why did you have to change now? So what people are good at it?
The biggest thing you've said that I think is stuck to me with the change, I mean, obviously we all know people don't like change, and change is hard. I get it. But like you said, bowling, they've never changed the distance. They've never changed the balls. They've never changed the number of pins. And how long has bowling been out? NFL has always been 100 yards, touchdown, points are the same, field goals are the same. Nothing's changed. They've made little rules here and there as far as like, now you can't, helmet to helmet's no longer allowed. And that is a little minor change. And I like that. And I feel like that's what they should have done as well. Right. I do see that they could have changed the rules to slow it down, change it up a little bit. I saw another post that said this is what ESPN wanted.
Okay, so here's the thing.
And so my thinking there is ESPN must be having a say in, which is good for us, for the throwers, because it's bringing popularity, but are they trying to muddy the waters to create the drama that everybody loves seeing on TV?
So let me push back a little bit.
But
if ESPN had a say-so, don't you think it would have been nice to say it to the group, hey, ESPN is the one that's asking us to do this, and it would have changed the arguments altogether?
Do the NFL commissioners go to them and say, hey, we're going to do this? No.
The NFL was already huge. They don't need to tell us ESPN did it. We're a burgeoning sport at the beginning, and you tell us the conglomerate from the top. You telling me it goes above Waddle, and when I say above Waddle, I mean the mainstream media has looked at you and said, the reason we're making this change is because ESPN has declared that we need to make this change. The rest of us like, damn, that's fucked up, but I get it now because we're going to get exposure. Right. You see what I mean?
Well, I mean,
because the rest of us, we already think we have exposure because they're going to show up to the Pro-Am. They're going to show up to the Worlds, so ESPN is already watching us. So until you tell me ESPN had a direct effect, that's hearsay. Until you tell me ESPN...
Right, it was just a comment that we saw. But
I got it, because that's hearsay, and it's speculation. So until I hear that ESPN, or they
But you're not going to hear that.
Well, then guess what? Then we're going to hear an argument. Because at the end of the day...
that's the point.
What you mean that's the point?
That's from what I've seen in those comments, is that's what they want.
I don't think they want us to argue.
But at the same... I guess my thing is, they're not going to come in and say, hey, ESPN wants us to do this, because then everybody's going to look change up their ways. I'm telling you
right now, anybody that's of note within the Waddle organization, transparency in a small sport is huge. If you tell us that ESPN is the one that is pushing you to make this change, it will make a world of difference as to how it is received. But if this is a change you are making because you think it will appeal to ESPN better, we're asking you straight up, just delay the 15-foot by a year. That's it. Just delay, or add it as the overtime throw, who sucks less from 15, and then that way you can gradually introduce it into the sport as opposed all at once, because you can see the division, the conflict, the confusion from venue to venue about what's going on over something as simple as the 15 feet. So why be so stubborn and say I'm going to go this and just delay it? Why not delay
just
it?
what Lacey just said, what Berger just said, the sport is hard to watch. Baseball is
So you think
hard.
the sport gets easier to watch whenever people are throwing from 15 feet?
It makes it a little more interesting. It does. It makes it so much more interesting.
So what happens whenever all of a sudden at the 15-foot line they get good at it, because it ain't gonna take them 5 years to adapt to the 15-foot line.
No, not
so
at all.
at 15 feet they're nailing it from 15 feet. Is it now? It's not interesting anymore, and it's only been 2 years. What are we gonna do now?
I think
That makes zero sense.
but I think the 15 feet puts that wow factor.
How?
Because if you have people throwing it upside down and backwards and hitting it and getting it, like throwing it facing them and throwing it, could you imagine flipping through channels and you pull up a pro-am or a pro or advanced game on the TV and they're throwing axes facing themselves,
Okay, all
throwing
right.
it?
So let's talk about what the rumors then. Okay, let's talk about the rumors. When you have people who are trying to come into this sport, first thing you start hearing is it safe? Because you guys drink and you throw axes, right? Then you got alcohol, axe throwing, and then there's always that one person who watches that one video where they've gotten hurt or it bounced all the way back and something happened, right?
Yep.
And then you think that turning the axe backwards, throwing it from 15 feet is going to add so much more excitement that it's going to bring in a slew of followers. I don't buy it.
I don't know if it'll bring in a slew, but it might make it a little more interesting to watch. I guarantee if you look at their ratings,
you don't think the new Bullseyes add enough interest?
a little bit, but not enough. And here's my reasoning. If you look, we don't have access to this. We look at their broadcast numbers. Their last pro tournament, Dylan Teets, Colby Dean. What were the views?
They already,
hold on.
Get a lot of views.
Hold on. Now you turn around and throw in the Commissioner Cup, right? So you throw in the Commissioner's Cup. I want to know which was viewed more.
Okay, but
I guarantee you the Commissioner's Cup was viewed
but that's
way more.
That's not fair because the Commissioner's Cup was broadcast where?
ESPN.
Right. Was the thing that you're talking about, was it?
Yes, that was Worlds. That was the whole thing.
Oh, you talking
the finals.
about last year?
The finals. Yes.
All right, so the
2021 finals or 2022 finals versus Commissioner's Cup.
No. Let's be clear then. Now I'm going to use a reference to track and field. Track and field, whenever you have the 100-meter race, the U.S. Open gets some views, but which one gets viewed more, that one or the Olympics? Exactly. Curling. They don't. Nobody watches a curling tournament. You don't know anybody who does curling, but they will watch that sucker when the Olympics come up.
That's because you're supporting your home, like your country. You can't compare the Olympics and track and field to the Commissioner's Cup.
That's what the Commissioner's Cup is, because it's teams now. It's a whole different of
It's the same sport, but there's more excitement to the throwing.
Sport because they're not throwing the same events. They're not throwing the regular hatchet. They're doing some kind of crazy stuff.
They threw the regular hatchet.
They are doing,
but they're doing other things involved to keep people watching.
There's a lot of novelty that goes into it. It's not the mainstream. That is basically the Olympics. You're watching something that you wouldn't normally watch, and then still was on some second-rate, cut-rate ESPN, and that nobody was really watching as much. So you're not going to tell me 15 feet is going to be the difference between getting us more views, just like they did for the Commissioner's Cup, versus no, it's not going to happen. Stop it.
I think it'll get us a little bit. I think it'll.
You already have the intrigue that when I throw a 6 or attempt to throw a 6, I could mess around and throw a 3. That's already going to change the sport. That's already going to make it interesting.
But do the viewers know that? No.
They don't know about 15 feet either. What do you mean?
They will when they see the person backing up.
And they will whenever you throw for a 6 and you actually hit a 3. They'll know that then too.
That's true.
So you see what I'm saying? So you contradict your own.
I mean, you're right there. Yeah, you're right.
There's no viable reason that 15 feet has to be introduced right now, where you could not wait, especially when you realize how much conflict it is created in the sport. You could always delay it by a year, or like I said, add it in as the, who sucks less. You got to throw from 15 feet, right? Maybe that's whenever you introduce 15 feet and gradually bring it into the sport. Yep. You don't have to do it all at one time. Look at what you just did. You added 6 new dots and then you change the size of all 8 dots.
Yeah.
Just like that. And then you put them in different zones. So already you're going to change the sport and how interest is going to look. It's already going to be different. Just give it a year. All I'm saying is be gradual. If the only pushback anybody's giving you is 15 feet, why is it a problem? Why can't you give up that one concession because you can't get 100% of the people to agree on anything. But 100% of the people would have been okay if you didn't bring 15 feet. Yeah. 100% of the people would have been okay if you never.
I think there might be some that might.
So you telling me that if they had brought in the 8 dots, all 8 dots, small dots, somebody would have said, "I wish they had added 15 feet."
Probably.
Stop it! Come on,
there's a reason they came up with the 15 foot. You really think they just sat there and said, let's add 15 foot?
Yes.
No, somebody was sitting there and literally said, you know what, we throw 15 feet with big axe. Let's try it with a small hatchet.
Right, but what I'm saying
somebody did it and somebody wanted to.
All I'm saying is if you take a look at it, somebody in that room.
I got another one for you.
If you right now today put it out there and said, hey, would you be okay if we got rid of the 15 feet? I bet money you'll get more people to agree to take away the 15 feet than it is to add the 15 feet.
Of course.
So what's the problem?
Okay, hold on. Time out. Let's time out right now. Pause. Rewind. Basketball. They added the 3-point line.
Two different sports.
It doesn't matter.
Sports.
How do you think their players felt?
What do you mean? How do you think the players?
How do you think the players felt? Just like how we feel with a 15-foot
either
rule.
one of us is born. I have no idea.
It doesn't matter.
I have no idea.
But all right, so again, you've been playing a sport for this long, and now you add this new line in and a whole new rule with more points.
So let me ask you a question.
You're telling me that they didn't feel the same way we feel right now?
If I was able to go back in time and they added the 3-point line, did they add, how many rules did they add in that fundamentally changed the game that were outside of the 3-point line all in the same year? I bet money it wasn't as many as they're doing right now.
I don't know. There's probably a lot. And because again, you have to change the game
what you're saying is you're saying probably, you're going theoretical, you're going all the way back to a time before either of us was born. So at this point, we're hoping it's apples to apples, but we don't know that. You go watching some video and somebody didn't like the fact the 3-point line was being brought in. Okay, that's one line, right? But it was a gradual change. You brought in something else. First of all, they took away Duncan. They brought Duncan back, right? Eventually, they added the 3-point line. Then they eventually moved the line back, right? Little by little. All those things happened over a course of time. So all I'm asking you to do at this point is change things over a course of time. It doesn't. Over the next 5 years, you can introduce the 15-foot line again, almost like a bonus. Maybe even you say the 15-foot line is like an extra point. So in that case, if I throw if I throw for the bullseye, it gives me the potential to turn it into only if I'm down. And if I can throw it, it gives me 2 points, an extra point. You see what I mean? Yeah. So if I'm down, going
now you're getting into a lot of technicals and
not really, because what happens is let's say if I'm down going into the final turn or whatever, right?
Final throw, so
throw
10.
Final throws. So as long as I'm losing, I have the ability to step back to 15 feet, throw, and get an extra point based upon whatever I hit. So if it's a 3, it's a 4. If it's a 6, it's a 7. You know what happens? I still can't go over 64 because the max that I can do is still 64. Right, but it gives me a chance to catch up.
So that's where a lot of math will come in, because if you say you're down, throw 10.
It's not a lot of extra math, because if you're down, throw 10, and I'm down by 3. That tells me all I have to do is step back, get an extra point, and I can go up to the blue if I need to. And then guess what? I've got my third point. It's no different than adding extra math. Now you're adding one extra number of math, and then you don't have to calculate it in your head as far as what the final score was, because that's what the computer's for. So again, you could have done a gradual adjustment, is my point. It didn't have to be all or nothing. It could have been a gradual thing where you said, look, let me just go ahead, change the dots, change how it looks as far as how the scoring goes, introduce let me play with this 15-foot line, add something, a little novelty to it, right? Because tell me that doesn't add more intrigue when I can step back to 15 feet for an extra point versus I got to step back for all 5 versus somebody who's gets to stay up for all 5. It's more intrigue when I'm down by 3.
Well, he's going to step back beyond the 3-point line. What you would see on TV, both would be at 15.
It's the same thing on 15 feet. It's the same thing on TV. When they say, oh man, he's stepping back to the 15-foot line, and if he hits this 8, he can actually win the game. because there's nothing that he can do because he's already gone for his 2 kills. Guess what? That adds more intrigue than saying he's got to throw all 5 of them from here and the game is already out of hand. I'm just saying, like, there's more intrigue there than it is for all 5 throws to be there, and then it's all over the board. And then you keep saying that people want to see interest and intrigue. People want to see winners. They want to see scoring. Why do you think every sport has changed to they screw the defense? I want to see scoring. So if I can see a perfect game, I want to see a perfect game.
Oh, yeah.
You see what I mean? So people are more likely to see, man, these guys just don't miss. And then all of a sudden you change it. And like I said, screw the 15-foot line. Bring it in as a novelty and say, look, give me basically that bonus throw. And I can kill it. And by saying, okay, I'm going to go back to 15 feet. Let's say we both do a perfect game. I'm going to go back to 15 foot on the 10th throw. If I hit my kill from over here, I win.
Yeah, but how if we both threw a perfect game and the highest you could get is 64?
But again, like I said, let's say that's the option. Let's say it's an option. I can come all the way back. I'm on my way. Let's say
that's where it gets tough. But
there's still options to play.
There's a lot of options that they could have done.
But those will be things I believe the general public will appreciate as a novelty because it's still an option, and I get to play against the pro, throwing at the same lines he throws at, and I distinguish myself based upon my skill set, apples to apples, not apples to oranges. Because that's what it is. I'm comparing my 12-foot scores to his asterisk scores over here, and it's not apples to apples. And then always, well, if you had a done, no. What happens if you just give us all the same rules to play from?
See, that's where I think you're confusing the rules, because you're gonna throw against people from 15 feet. There's gonna be no asterisk when you go to the tournament. Like if you go to the Pro-Am or say the intermediate, you're gonna throw with other intermediate. So if you win that, you're the champion at that level.
I'm talking about
you go to the advanced.
Your everyday league / marathon. If your advanced throwers will be throwing with amateur throwers.
Yeah. Well, yes. They will. Right.
That's right. So again, why muddy the waters on all of the average stuff? Because there aren't that many pro tournaments as compared to marathons, as compared to full-blown regular tournaments.
Well, that's where maybe venues now have 2 marathons.
And guess what? The venues are already struggling with money. You think they're going to field enough people to run 2 marathons? 2 separate deals? You think they're going to get the interest? They're already talking about revenues being down. And you're going to add more issues to them? Come on, man. You're not thinking about the little guy at all. All I'm saying is if you took away the 15-foot line for now, you will get a gradual change. You'll get to see the intrigue because I guarantee you that somebody's going to miss the bullseye and it's going to be a 5 when it could have been a 6. They're going to miss the 5, 6 zone altogether and hit a 3. It's already going to change the numbers as it is. Yeah. The numbers are going to be wildly different. The pros are still going to be the pros, right? That's the reason they're the pros. And they're going to do what they're going to do. And then you don't muddy the waters per se. And then you get to introduce the 15-foot line as, like I said, if you're down, you get to step back to the 15-foot line and get an extra point, almost like the 3-point line. In basketball, you get to step back, get an extra point if you're down. And that could either tie the game up at 64. You could wind up taking the lead because you were down by 1 and you went back and you hit a 6 and that person wound up throwing a 5. And now your 6, because you hit a 6 from back there, is a 7. You just changed the game. Now it's like adding a 3-point line to it, and still a perfect game is still 64. Oh, you see what I mean? So you could do it that way and still have gotten the opportunity to keep everybody playing at the same rules, doing the same thing, and then the pros are always still going to will it. The cream is always going to rise to the top anyway. And then you still wouldn't have as much pushback as you're getting right now, as much confusion as you're getting right now, where you've got top-level throwers that says, I think I'm out. It's too much confusion. It's too much drama. Where you've got top-level throwers that goes, I think I'm actually going to just declare amateur to start because I don't really want to fool with a 15-foot either. Or where I've got amateur throwers who go, I can't afford another expensive axe to try to work with from 15 feet because the sport is already bloody expensive.
Yeah.
And then you run the risk of breaking very expensive axe because you can't go on the Waddle website and get a good axe for under $100.
Yeah.
And then Lord knows if you get one custom made, God knows what the price is going to be there. So again, I don't believe big picture, whoever came up with these rules and came up with this idea thought about the little guy. And I don't think they cared.
Yeah. I mean, I could see
We're going to open it up to the chat real quick. What do you guys think? Am I missing something? Are we missing something? Because, again, I know 15 feet is coming. And we're going to have to do what we got to do, right? I'm not going to leave the sport because of 15 feet. But I do believe it would have been better served to just wait. Or introduce it as, hey, it's a potential light at 3-point line, like I suggested. And that way it's not necessarily creating completely new divisions, completely new asterisks and everything else, and then the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, and creating more drama than is necessary. Because I think you're gonna. I just think big picture. I think big picture. It's gonna be more hurtful than good in the short term for sure. And guess what? People say, well, what about the long term? There may not be a long term if you wind up crushing them early.
Well, it's from the numbers. Like if you look at leagues and stuff.
Everybody says the numbers are down.
The numbers are down, even without the rules or anything.
And the numbers are going to be down anyway because they're comparing it to what? They're going back from 2020 on to now. There has been a gradual decrease, but that's only because there's been just a kind of a normalization of what would normally have stayed in. And those other venues have to market themselves as something other than just a throwing venue. You have to do drinks. You have to do food. You got to do something. Your bar and grill, something to keep your place afloat, because if you're only going to do axe throwing, it was never going to last anyway. That's the truth. So whether you got a small town or a big town, it will not matter. If you're only going to push it as a axe venue, you are screwed. You have to add something else to it.
I don't know. I think it all depends on location.
How?
I mean, if you look and you have certain places that is in a high foot traffic or high volume foot traffic, then I feel like you can make the money.
Okay.
And Lacey, I was just about to talk about this.
You know what? But when you say Premier and IATF, what we didn't change is the fundamentals of the game. What you said is the precision of the game changed.
That's what he's saying. He's asking, like, should we have two? Should Waddle do a Premier, which is the 15, and then do a standard, which is normal?
I want you to look at IATF. IATF will tell you they do not have near the participation in the Premier Leagues as they do in the standard. Many towns don't even offer the Premier League. Matter of fact, in our local area, they don't even offer the Premier League because there's not enough people to participate in it. So you don't have enough people going into it.
That's only the one. If Urban Axe does. The one in Durham, they offer Premier.
So again, look how far away that is and look where they're at. And they don't, I guarantee you, they do not have they don't have the same participation as they do in their standard league. And
I don't think so. But I know there's a couple.
And you change the game fundamentally you say you extend the line.
Yeah.
If you wind up again saying, look, you're going to throw from the same level that we are. You're already offering the touch rule. That's going to help a lot. That's going to be huge. And then again, like I said, add the 15-foot, like the 3-point line. Because if you're talking about comparing the IATF, it's not apples to apples. Because the IATF didn't say, hey, you know what? For the Premier League, we're going to back it up by 3 feet. They said you're going to hit the same dot. You just have to cover more of it. You got to be more precise is what they've said. And that's what Waddle has basically said to everybody, is you got to be more precise because we're going to shrink the dot down.
Exactly. And that's what they're marketing as. Just like Brian said, they're marketing as a skill upgrade.
Again, so if you're marketing it as a skill upgrade, you've already skill upgraded whenever you move those tiny dots to the 3 zone. It's already a skill upgrade as it is. You know, and again, they just made it more difficult. And in ITF, they said, look, no, it's the same dots, it's the same everything. They got a little square in the middle now, so you got to cover from top to bottom. Mm-hmm. But guess what? Even in Waddle, again, it could still be a skill change if by saying, instead of you have to throw all 5 from the second half, you can say, I have the option now, I am down, I can step back to 5 to 15 feet and get the additional point. Right. That can actually, now skill has to come in, strategy has to come in, and it's for every player to ascend to that. And it doesn't muddy the waters from day-to-day basketball or day-to-day sports, day-to-day marathons, right? Yeah. It doesn't add any more confusion than it has to. Everybody can do the same thing. And I get what you're saying, Brian. You're basically saying just explaining the way they explained it. But that's where I'm looking at it. I said, I don't believe they're thinking about the big picture. I don't think they're thinking about the little guy at all. And when I say the little guy, I'm talking about the venues too. I'm talking about the average thrower, the new person that's coming in that can't afford those expensive axes. They're not thinking about them. Because if they were thinking about, I tell you what, if they are thinking about it, they don't give a damn about them. And the ones who defend it are the minority, because go and look top to bottom on that page. For every 1 or 2 people you see that say I'm cool with 15, you get another 5 that say I'm not.
Right.
And that's where I'm looking at. And I'm saying, if what is so big about the 15-foot line, you can't give that concession for 1 year. To say, look, let's just change the dots first, see how that goes.
Technically, they are.
They're not.
How? Who's forcing you to throw pro? Who's forcing you to throw 15 feet? Who? Tell me who. First of all, hold on.
I'm telling you.
Who?
So what happens is now, so if I want to be able to throw in the world championships, right? I have to do what?
There has been no actual rule that says you have to throw from 15.
So what is the benefit for throwing at 15 feet?
Exactly.
So then why do it then? If there's no benefit, what's the point?
The only benefit would be...
You make zero arguments to make sense.
What's the point of making pro right now?
So you can wind up making it to those top tier terms. What do you mean? More money payouts. So again...
How? So they actually don't make more money because there was a post. I saw a spread... bubble graph of this that showed that the pros don't make as much.
You're only helping my argument then. If there's no benefit to doing it, if everybody in the end is just going to say, forget it, I'm not going to go back to 15 foot, then why do we have it then?
Because
what's the point of doing it? If it makes no beneficial, no overall benefit to the majority, to the masses, then why do the rule? Now at this point, you're just doing it just to be doing it. And if you're making change for the sake of change, that's terrible.
Why did they shrink the dots? You think that the pros were hitting the big dots and wanted to stay that way?
Okay, wait. So no. No. So let's get into that. If you're saying why did they change the dots? So if you're
they've changed the boards.
No, because changing the dots is not change for the sake of changing.
How not?
No, it's not. Changing the dots is changing for the sake of skill. Right? If you're telling, because at this point now it changes how the scoring will look altogether. Absolutely. It's a skill change. Boom, boom, boom. Right? Going back to 15 foot, if there's no benefit whatsoever to going back to 15 foot, if I'm better off, I'm just going to stay at 12 and do what I got to do, then what's the point? You made the 15 foot change for the sake of making change.
Right. They made the board change for the sake of making it.
No, man, they made the board change because too many people were walking out off the park and hitting 64s. So they were trying to make that change so that way you could see a difference in skill level. You were trying to make it more difficult. I absolutely get that, but they changed it for everybody. Everybody.
Right.
So again, if you're going to do the 15 foot, change it for everybody or change it for nobody. Because that's what I'm looking at and from that perspective. Because again, you're talking about those big tournaments. Meanwhile, my local league is happening every day. And you just added more confusion to what's going to happen there.
Even Brian said after a year and a half as a pro, I still feel like I'm a poser saying I'm pro.
I got it. And why does he say that? Because there's no real benefit to say I'm pro.
Exactly.
So at the end of the day, what's the benefit for me going to 15 feet?
There's
no benefit to it. Then why we do it?
For you and me, there's none.
So then why we do it? Why would anybody do it?
Same reason.
So there's no reason for anybody to do it.
Same reason you're trying to get a 58 average to make worlds, while I am going through qualifiers, like Brian said, or circuit points.
And if he goes through qualifiers, guess what? And you get there, you still got to throw 15 feet. Because if you
I'm saying this year.
If you make it the worst, you got to throw 15 feet.
Yeah.
Keith, man, you go around in circles and argue against yourself.
No, because look, all right, here's the thing.
You just argued against your own argument.
No, because here's the thing. Right now, you are trying to get that pro status or trying to get your world's bid, correct? Mm-hmm. You're trying to do it off of an average and your kills. Mm-hmm. When there is a qualifier that could get you there, that I feel like you can do super well.
I would still have to hit kills, and I would still have to do all the other stuff. What are you talking about? How does that change anything? Because
then you have circuit points that get you there too.
Okay, so
all right. So, what's the difference between you being pro and getting that pro status with your 58 average, okay, or you just getting circuit points and hitting qualifier?
If I get the circuit points and I make it all the way to the top, when I get ready to throw in that world tournament, I don't have to back up 3 feet now all of a sudden and change what I did altogether.
Right.
At all, right?
Right.
Not at all. It's not a fundamental
I'm not
change.
talking about the 15 feet. I'm talking about now.
But that's the comparison you're making.
No.
Because even right now, if at this point I'm still playing the same game as the pros. What are you saying?
Right. You are playing the same game. What I'm saying is...
Okay, so let me ask you a question. If we go into the new rules, I stay 12 feet. How would I qualify for Worlds?
So...
You don't know.
We don't know.
They haven't said.
They haven't said, right. But
again,
what I'm wondering...
There's already mud in the water.
Well, there's not... I feel like everybody's putting mud in the water.
Because No. It's not everybody putting mud in the water. It's when they don't come out and define it and do that video like what you said before.
Right.
They put mud in the water because they left it up for speculation. And when you leave it up for speculation, you leave it up for arguments like what we're having right now.
That is true.
So at the end of the day, this always comes from the top down. So you come up with these rules that the majority didn't agree on, and then you wind up... And
we don't know what was agreed on. They put a form out. Okay. We never saw the results of that.
So there you go. You only proved my point.
They're not going to put out the results of that.
Okay. So at the end of the day then, as far as we know, they made a change without considering me. Because until you show me what the results were, I got to assume the other way around. You can't prove it the other way around?
You think that the town of Clayton gives a damn about you? Pardon my language, but you think the town of Clayton, their town council, is going to council meetings every week and they care what you come in there and say?
So here's
a little bit.
So here's the difference.
They put out a form recently about restructuring downtown.
Guess what?
And who put in on it?
I got my form and I filled my form out. So guess what?
Now they're listening because you did it. When they have 300 people.
But listen what you said. They put it out there for me to vote on the thing.
So did Waddle. You've had numerous people say they put it out.
Where did they put it out that the rest of us would have actually seen it?
I guess it was email.
Okay.
And you didn't see it. I don't know.
And again, if it goes to spam, where would you have put it that you would have gotten that kind of?
I even think they might have had it on their website at one point.
Their website is trash.
But
their website is terrible about updating.
That I will agree on. But they have made a lot of good changes. Like I don't know if you've seen now. If you look, it actually shows under like my career. It shows home venue, like my venue.
Yeah.
So you can click that and see your all your tournament, like what you're playing.
Yeah, but I think you could always do it if you did it on the computer. You might can do it on the phone now.
The phone you can, because the phone now you can hit venue. But my thing is, it was put out there. No, we didn't see it. That's on us, right?
So hear me out then. Let's use our town of Clayton.
Yeah.
We all put this out there. We vote on it. And then all of a sudden, it's only a minority of people who voted. Cool. Mm-hmm. And then you get this mass protest that says, wait a minute, I don't like it. I don't want what's happening here. And where was it, chat? You mean where was it at?
I didn't put that.
Somebody put it in. Huh?
I said, where was it?
Or no, look what you wrote. You put, where was it, chat? Look.
I know.
What does that mean?
Our producer is
killing
us.
What does where? You didn't say where. You said where was it, chat?
Where was it, chat? Like what?
Oh, I did.
Yeah, look. It's right there. You to look at it. I keep pointing at it and say, look.
All right.
We look ignorant as hell right now.
No, because I deleted it on accident.
You didn't delete it. It's there. They saw it. So what Brian says, no. I miss the days when I kept getting whooped. But again, and when they say
get rid of Streamlabs,
yeah, but don't worry about what Streamlabs said. Thank you for the comment, by the way. So look, when it's all said and done, 15 feet is coming. But when I look
so you were saying when they go and when people
and then I
protest
get the masses,
about
they
it,
protest. You know what happens? My city council has to consider the overall anarchy that is created in this town.
But
and guess what they do? Guess what they do?
They have to vote, re-bring it back up, and re-vote on it.
Do you think they did that?
We don't know yet.
Do you think they did that? Because when I last saw it,
they might be.
When I last saw it, they reposted the rules and said, "Hey, here's the changes we just made." Wow. I didn't see a revote. I saw a repost of the rules.
Maybe they didn't think there was a need for a revote.
There you go, and therein lies the problem.
How though?
Because you didn't think there was a need to listen to the rest of us. That's what when you say there's no need for a vote, you say there's no reason to listen to the rest of us. That's what you
all right. So when they put it out, right at 1st, how many people really advocated?
Okay, so again, let's say they put it out at first. They voted on it, came back, but now you realize, oh crap, and the majority didn't actually speak for the majority. We may need to put these back out one more time because obviously we missed something,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
You tell them you couldn't do that because January's not here yet. It's not too late to revote.
It's right.
And guess what? They didn't do it.
But we don't know what's happening behind the scenes either, which we're not going to because
And until they do
actually,
it, they haven't done it.
Because the only
Until they
councils
do it,
don't even do that either.
Until
But
they do it, they haven't done it. That's the point. Until they do it.
until they do what?
Until they put out another vote, they haven't done it.
They're not gonna put out
there
another
you go.
vote.
So once again, like
Because
I said,
it's been voted on, it's been passed. They're not going to re-bring it up. Just like
Because they
anything
don't
that
wanna-
happens at the
because you don't
council,
want- because you
you're
don't wanna
not
get
going
it
to
right.
re-bring anything up.
because you don't want to get it right. That's the whole point. Egos are in play. What the people on that city council have already and most likely taken bribes. They're taking some other issues. They've got their own monetary
Right.
designs, that sit behind
Agendas
it.
and stuff.
There
yeah.
you go.
But it still gets brought out. They ask the public votes. They take that into consideration, and then they vote on behalf of the district. Unfortunately, Waddle's people behind the scenes voted on behalf of the throwers.
Okay, and guess what happens?
Whether it's the top 2 throwers or the top
in
2,000
and
throwers.
in my local government, if I wind up getting a significant amount of petitioners, I get a significant amount of protesters, they will pause the outcome of whatever that vote was supposed to be, depending upon what that vote was, what it was about. They will say, you know what, in light of public outcry, we will table this
Or
and
come back
put it
on
out, or put it out for another year, or delay it for a year, or we will do something different.
We will.
So
yeah.
here's the thing right now. If we get enough public outcry, enough petitions, and it says, hey, here's the issue, and you got the public outcry, there's enough people in that Waddle saying, hey, 15 feet is the deal breaker for me. I'm cool with you changing all the other rules. Just slow down on the 15 feet, and then I'm with it. You see what I mean? So at the end of the day, like you said, they're their own circles. They got their own little cliques that's at the top. They've already thought about themselves before they thought about anybody. So when it's all said and done, they didn't think about you. They didn't think about me. And they don't give a damn whether we stay or we go, apparently. Because the reality...
Well...
And we ain't talking about just the government. We talking
I
about
know,
this business.
but I was about
because
to say,
this is a
does any business really think?
Yes, because you know what happens is whenever people put their money where their mouth is and they stop spending money in a certain thing, guess what happens? Companies change every time.
Oh, yeah.
Every time. And so
but that's not going to happen.
You know what's going to happen?
As far as the leagues go, that might happen, but I don't think people will stop throwing axes.
I think people won't stop throwing axes for fun because the average person that throws an axe has no idea about Waddle or IATF.
Exactly.
They just know I took a drink and I threw that.
Right.
But
that's why I'm saying axes being thrown won't stop.
Axes being thrown will not stop.
And that's what I think Waddle is looking at as well.
But what I'm looking at for Waddle, from a Waddle perspective, is could you have said, let's delay this one part, or, as I stated before, add it as a throw in for a 3-point play, so to speak, or something to that effect. And then everybody's playing from the same platform. Because when you change that board, we all go back to 0 again.
Oh, yeah.
Just on the board change. We ain't even talking about the 15 feet.
Yeah.
We talking about just changing the board. You've already changed the game. Because I still don't believe that there's a fundamental reason to say 15 feet for half the group or part of the group. I just don't see it.
I can agree with the fundamental part.
And that's what I'm saying.
I don't really see.
And I don't see the benefit because I know majority of the throwers that we've talked to or that I've talked to have no intention of throwing 15 feet during league play. There's only a handful of people who are even interested in throwing it during league play and declaring advanced. Most people are going to stay amateur and they're going to throw. And what I'm interested to see is when you go to, and let's say hypothetically 1,000 people and 100 of them have declared pro status, or not pro, but advanced status, and everybody else has stayed amateur. How do you distinguish who's the best throwers? If, let's say, hypothetically, Lucas Johnson says, I don't want to throw advanced, I'm going to stay.
Well, then he would be that. I feel like that's where they're going to break it up into 2.
Do you think they were going to do a world championship for amateurs?
I think they might, yeah.
Because right now there is no world championship for amateurs.
No. That's why, and that's where I was trying to say before. I think that they might do like a advanced world champion and whatever the other one is,
because,
world champion.
And I guess,
but see, here's the thing that I found very interesting as well. The other day when we were talking to Travis in our local league, he loved the 15-foot because he right now.
But he himself, I don't mean this to sound disparaging. But he's not trying to go anywhere with this sport. He's just doing it local. He has no intention of traveling to do it with this thing.
I can't speak for him, but all right,
I'm looking at
all
the
right.
results. And
So-
currently, he ain't done shit with it. What do you mean?
Right, so I shouldn't have thrown a name out. All right, so say you're a bottom thrower, right, that is somewhat trying to travel and somewhat trying to do it, but is not fully into it yet, and is continuing to get whooped by us every day or every league. Now you add this 15 where now they potentially could whoop us. That's the one fundamental thing I could see because...
Do you know why it won't count? Because you can't tell me if Brian Cox comes in and throws it 15 feet, I throw it 12, then I'm going to look at him and say, hey, I beat Brian!
No, I'm saying if they throw at 15 too, because now it's evening the playing field completely.
Would I say all?
Or nothing. Which is fine, and I get
so
that.
So if everybody goes at 15 feet, it's fine.
Which
or if nobody goes at 15 feet. But to do it the way you're doing it now, again, it muddies the water too much.
I feel like,
make the rules the same across the board.
You keep saying that they don't look for the little guy.
They didn't.
But it almost seems like, in a way, just hear me out, in a way, they thought about your bottom throwers.
They didn't. Because at the end of the day, if you didn't help the bottom thrower become better whenever you gave a 15-foot line. Because, again, if Brian Cox comes in and throws a 40 from 15 feet and I threw a 55 from 12, I cannot safely look him in the face and say, I'm not. See,
you keep getting the two distances mixed up. No, you're a 40 average. You throw from 15. Brian is a 62 average right now. He throws from 15. You beat him from the 15 and from those marks, that game, we're better than him.
Keith, so you've changed the narrative like 40 different times during this conversation. So what I'd like to know is, based on what you're saying, is you saying everybody goes to 15 or you're saying what?
Whoever wants to. I've been saying whoever wants to. I've been saying two.
So hear me out.
So you telling me... From day one,
wait, hear me
from
out,
before, I said we need different leagues. Or not leagues, we need different standings. As far as pro, amateur, intermediate... Have I not said that the whole time? I've even gave average differences.
But the analogy you just used was using an advanced thrower versus an amateur thrower going against one.
Right now, come 2024, everybody is what you decide that first week.
Okay.
So if you right now are an amateur and I'm a pro, 2024, day one, first league of 2024, I now declare advanced. You declare advance. I beat you. Save all 4 games. I'm better than you.
Keith, it makes sense when you're saying we're all throwing from the same rule. If you and I both are throwing from 15
but
feet,
again, right sense. Now...
But we're not all throwing from the same rule. They just said in their own rule book that in your average league, a 15-footer can throw against a 12-footer, and then all the overtime throws and everything will have to be from their fault line.
Right.
So it's not apples to apples. What are you saying?
You keep see, there will be a split leaderboard. That's what I've been trying to tell you.
Keith,
so if you stay...
Keith, for the love of God, pull up the rule book right now and
show
me where they're saying that right now. They've never said that. He's assuming they're going to say that.
There's been numerous people that have said they're doing 2 different leaderboards now.
Has it been anyone who is in the council?
Is the premier versus regular?
Is it anyone from the council, or is it a bunch of people making up their own thing, what they think is going to be? Because all I've heard is speculation.
Well, then it's speculation.
All right, then, because what happens is you change the narrative to fit your argument throughout the entire conversation. You switch you move the goalpost every time we talk about. Well, it could be that, and then whenever I prove you wrong, no. At the end of the day, they muddied the water by adding 15 feet for half the group.
No,
they did. You should have done it for everybody. Or done it for nobody, because at the end of the day, distinguish that way. You don't have a 3-point line in college and don't have one in the NBA. And then when they do, the NBA players go to play in the NBA. It's 2 different leagues, by the way. The college player doesn't get to say, well, hey, I'm an amateur, so I can't shoot from the 3-point line. I can't shoot from my 3-point line. Nope, they don't do it that way.
Right. It's once you declare, that's what you declare.
So think about what you're saying. You're essentially saying that they are basically declaring 2 separate leagues. You just fractured an already small sport. That's what you would have done. You would have fractured an already small and dying sport.
See,
I shouldn't say dying, declining.
Sport. Yeah. I see, and that's where
You're
I
gonna
beg to
fracture it.
differ because
How did you not fracture it? How did you not fracture the sport by saying this group and that group throwing from two separate rules? How did you not fracture it?
because you have new people that could come in and could stay at 12 and pick that up, or you have new people that could come in and see that everybody is having trouble from 15. I could hop into 15 and I could be
So let me ask you a
decent.
question. So the day on January 1st, what's declaring? Amateur or are you going advanced?
I personally will probably do advance.
Why?
Why? Because I think it's cool, for one. I think it adds a little extra, just something different. It's change. I don't care about change. Everybody has told me that, especially at work. When new things get implemented, I love it and I embrace it and I'm all for it. And maybe that's where the thing is, you know? Maybe the muddy waters is people not liking change and people not wanting change.
But this is where
Again, other
I push
sports
back.
haven't changed,
This
and
is-
I agree with
This is
that.
where I
But
push back. People didn't have an issue with change that made sense to them. And the reason I say that is because nobody complained about changing the dots. They
Okay.
complained about
Here's
one item.
right,
Just one.
but here's my other thing too. When they first came out with it, how many were so negative from it off the start before they even tried it? Damn near everybody. Now turn around now, a couple months later, how many of those people that were having that same argument, same negativeness, tried it, did decent with it, and are like, you know what, it's not
it's
that
not
bad.
the majority.
It's quite a
You
few.
might have got one or two that might have flipped in comparison to the 10 that's
got,
still on the same
you
level.
got quite a few. Because there's quite a few that have gone to tournaments and played mock tournaments and that say, you know what, it's not that bad.
Now, all right, so
It's actually not that bad.
I don't have an issue. If we're going to do the 15 feet, fine, add the 15 feet. Where again, where I'm having an issue is I feel like you muddied the waters whenever in my local league, if you declare advance and I don't, that now I'm throwing against each other and I have no way of knowing if I am truly better than you or not.
From that standpoint,
And you
yeah,
got to look at the big picture.
I don't think...
You got to look at it from that way. You have to.
Right,
Because
and
everything is
but-
not a pro tournament. Everything is not, the Worlds. Everything is not the Pro-Am.
I agree. Yeah, I do agree with. But I think you're so just hung up on this. If he throws from 12 and I throw from 15, if he beats me, we don't know what exactly is going to happen. If they put an asterisk, if they create another leaderboard, if they do multiple different
I think
things.
you kill the competition aspect of it because if Brian comes in and throws from 15 feet and I throw from 12, it's no longer the individual competition. It goes, yeah, you threw your board, I threw my board, and it's not even a real competition anymore. He's just throwing what he's throwing, and he's gonna do what he's gonna do, and he's gonna wait and see how it shows up on the leaderboard next week, and I'm gonna do mine, and then the local excitement is gone. Because there is no real excitement as I pushed you to the brink. That will kill the sport, young man.
That I could agree to a standpoint with, because I could definitely see how, someone throwing at 12 and someone throwing at 15, they don't have that camaraderie and
that competitive spirit
competitiveness.
It's not there.
Is not there. That I totally could agree with you on, because that makes sense. My counter to that would be, would that push you to go into the 15 though?
Okay, so let's.
But because look at it right now. When we first started throwing, we took it competitively, right?
Yep.
We loved beating each other and talking junk, and then we said, let's try to take it to the next step, right? Which is what for us, right? For right now, 2023 would be 50% kills, top 28 in the world. Okay, next year. We stay 12, right? Brian goes 15. What if he beats us at 15? Just what if? We're just talking what if.
Okay, and if he beats me, then what? Then I get to say, man, he's Thor, which is what I'm saying.
Right.
So
But would that not
15 feet? So
right?
what?
But would that push you to go? Hey, let me try to get 15 to see if I can match him or do better.
I'm gonna look at it like this right here. There were 15 throwers. Roughly 15 throwers in my first league that I ever joined this year. Right? Only 2 of us out of the 15 travel regularly. Only 2 of us are even trying to do something So you're talking about if he pushed me, he's going to push one person out of 15. Meanwhile, the rest of the sport,
they stay where they're at.
and that's where I'm saying you're going to wind up fracturing the league more than you think. Because what happens is now it's not even competitive. If Brian walks in there, he's the only one throwing at 15, and the rest of us are throwing at 12. It's not even fun for him anymore.
Right.
It's not even competitive for him because
Yeah.
he doesn't get that local. Sure, he gets to look at a leaderboard later, but in the moment, damn, why is this even fun? Why would I even want to do this?
That, yeah.
So again,
I can
that
see
kills the
that.
sport. So again, for all the reasons we named, right? Throw them out the window. It is what it is. It's all speculation. For all the reasons we named about why they should keep 15 or shouldn't keep 15. And again, by the way, guys, in case you don't know, we started this. He was taking the side of Waddle. I was taking the side of the average little guy, so to speak. And that was the whole premise of us arguing what we were arguing. In truth, we're both okay with the fact they're going to bring 15 feet, and we're going to try it because that's just what we're going to do, because we like throwing axes that much.
Yeah.
But where I was playing devil's advocate is for that guy who, well, he's just the average thrower, and, he doesn't get his voice heard all the time. He doesn't get to travel all the time. For
So
financial
I was
reasons.
going to ask you a question about that. Two, actually.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So your average thrower that doesn't get to travel and throw very much, right? If he now went to advanced rules, would he feel like he's more capable to travel?
I don't know.
And that's where I'm siding in.
But
as
me as a traveling person, I'm still going to start off as amateur from the start because I don't see the benefit to going pro right away because I didn't make pro level on this level, right? I didn't make the top 24 on this level.
Right.
So chances of me going to advanced is slim to none. Will I practice some of that? Absolutely. I'm going to practice it because I know there's going to come a day where I'm going to have to throw it. Because I'm going to get into a pro-am and they're going to say you finished in the top 4. You get to go play with the pros. Oh, crap. That means I have to throw 15 feet. I don't want to be embarrassed.
Now that is where that would become extremely hard.
Yeah. And again, and that's the
Because, what if somebody's never thrown or practiced it, but they're just, because they stayed. Now, that I could see and that I understand.
Yeah. And again, and I would do it because I would want to be prepared to face somebody like a Brian on a regular basis.
Right.
But from day to day, I do believe and Brian, you are probably your ears are burning right now because I've been throwing your name out there a lot. But I don't believe it's fair for someone like him to declare 15 feet out of a room of 15. He's already got a room full of people who refuse to go up because they're scared to go up, and it already takes some of the joy out of it for him, right? And then now you go in there and say, now not only is he only one of the few going up, he's probably the only one that's going to back up. And then now, how much fun did you just suck the life out of the game for someone like him because everybody else is just.
Oh no, I totally see that and agree with that aspect.
And so I believe personally, if they would redo the rules just for going into this year, this is my thought: change the dots the way you're going to change them, even where your kill shots. If you go for one on the right side, you got to go for the bottom one on the left.
Yeah,
right. I'm cool with all of that. The inners, the touches, all that stuff. Keep it the same. But add the 15-foot as a 3-point line. If you are down,
that I agree with.
Yeah.
I feel like that because it's like our game 11 that we used to practice. You choose either blue as 1 or blue as 2, and whatever one, whenever you go down, you switch and can go for the higher to tie it up.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we'll explain that game next show. By the way,
yeah, but that would be pretty cool to watch. Like you throw a 5. Now, all right, let me go to 15. I didn't say that before because we were doing, sides and stuff. But that I would love that. I think that would be cool. Cool, and it would bring a couple more viewers to the game because it would, you could have a chance for a 64. Someone could miss a kill, and now you could throw a 6. And make it a 7 because you're down 1 and beat them by 1. That would be crazy. There'd be a lot of strategy that would go into it. It'd be almost like a chess match.
That's where I believe if they would do that would change the game.
Here's another question for you. Do you think...
By the way, guys, subscribe and hit the notifications. We talk about stuff like this all the time.
Yes. So I got 2 things for you. Okay. One was my idea from earlier that you told me to hold on to. Mm-hmm. And then this is a question for you. Do you think Waddle with their committee, should have at least 5 non-venue owners or I don't know who's in their committee, but 5 throwers from the 300 and below in the committee. Or space it out. So say 300 to 600, 700 to 1,000, 1,100 to 1,500. And they have 5 people to represent those guys that are, or ladies at the bottom to have a say. Because we don't know who's in the council or whatever. But
honestly, what I think should happen is they should bring from the regions.
That there's another one
Bring
too.
from the regions. Bring 4 or 5 people from each region with a single representative to speak on the behalf
of
and say, look,
that region.
and each person no more than
Almost like a board.
correct. No more than one person can come from any one venue. So it's not just overrepresented by one venue, right?
Kind of get basically like the Atlantic region would have
so like for instance,
one main speaker, but we would have a person from.
If you had Ironclad, he's over there. Well, Billy has 3 venues, so he couldn't have another person outside of those 3 and jump in with him.
Right.
And now it's 2 on the venue. No, he's one person. He's one person, right? And then
So would it be owners or just anybody?
I don't think it would matter if it was a venue owner. I think a venue owner is probably best represents the group as a whole because they have to look at it from a business perspective.
So what if they had 2?
What do you mean had 2?
Had 2 different boards. What if you had an owner's board and a throwers board?
No, that's going to create more confusion. And the reason I say it's more confusion is because what happens if you don't get any participation from the throwers, and you get a lot of participation from the owners? I say let the owners speak because the owners should be representing their house, right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they have
They're
to think,
owners.
Yeah, they have to be thinking about me. If they don't think about me, they don't think about them as their venue. So venue owners speak. And if we want to be heard, let's talk to your local venue owner, just like your local House of Representatives, right? And then
my only concern with that would be owners don't travel.
They don't have to travel. We travel, so why not? Owners should be responsible enough to come back and ask.
True. Yeah, I can see that.
Because the owners are the same ones that's opening up the venues for people to travel to them.
Yeah.
So that's
now here was my topic.
I'm sealing the covers like I do.
Oh, that's all right. You're just a misfit. See, your face misfit.
Yeah,
So here's a my way that I thought of to make this sport pop off.
Okay, what's that?
And I stole it from pickleball.
Okay, all right, talk to me.
So pickleball just had Mark Cuban.
Okay.
I believe Derek Jeter and a couple
teams, right?
Yes. So they bought into it, and now they have teams. Their teams are in regions. They have drafts to pick their team.
Okay, all right. So here's
my thinking is, right, what if you take some of the top throwers? For example, they did it with the Pro-Am, actually. They did this with Pro-Am. They took your pros, and they let them draft teams, pick teams. Because, like, Sean, I think, is with Lucas.
By the way, when they pick, could they pick anybody?
I think anybody that's... It's just for the skills stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just for the skills
like
challenges.
an all-star game, kind of.
Right. So those skill games, you have a team of 3.
Okay.
So like Sean, I believe Sean and Lucas are doing dual knives or whatever it is. Then I think he's doing one of the big axe things too. But I don't know how it worked. But something like that to bring in more people and make it more of a spectacle. Because now you're getting a team aspect, right? So you have like, say Lucas's team, Team Johnson, Team Goss, and you basically choose or draft a hatchet thrower, a big axe thrower, a duels team, and a knife thrower.
I think
now.
I don't necessarily like this idea. What I do love is your original idea from earlier in our broadcast, the World Series of Axe.
Right, yes.
I think that's much better.
Yeah, I agree with that. But what if also you had this, though?
I'm not against it, but I still like that World Series idea.
Oh, yeah.
Because the World Series seems so much simpler. This seems very complicated. But by the way, real quick, because we're going to shoot this segment right now, so you can cut this and post this on our page and post it on the Waddle thing, okay? It's Epic Misfits, Keith and Troy.
Well, we could have went back to the main screen.
No, I got that. We can do this right now. You just cut it out and out of the show. Just
Okay,
do it,
all right. Geez.
It's the Epic Misfits.
You're giving me a lot of work.
And Troy. All right. So here we are. We're talking about is the sport growing? Is it declining? And what can be done? And part of it, what we both played an antagonist, protagonist role. He spoke for Waddle. I kind of spoke for as an antagonist against anything he was going to talk about. And it was just to create the dialogue, right? But what I do think could potentially happen is, and I don't know, and as you can see on our chat, where it says somebody said, "What if we boycotted the 15-foot?" What I think could be a viable solution that could work for everyone is if everyone used the new dots as what was expected. Everyone threw from 12 feet, and if you are down, you have the ability to step back to 15 feet to add the essential of the three-point shot, meaning add an additional point to whatever you throw. So if the score was 54 to 55, throw 9, I would be, throw 10 is what it is. I would theoretically be able to step back to the 15-foot line, take my shot at whatever is available to me at the time. So if my kills are still open, I go for the kill. If my bullseye is still open, then I go for the bullseye. And if I hit the 6, it's technically worth 7. If I hit the kill, is worth 9, right? And so what would happen is it would still give me the opportunity to stay in the game. It's not necessarily out of hand because I'm down by 2, down by 3, and my kills are exhausted, right? I get that opportunity, and if I don't choose to take the three-point shot, so to speak, or the extra point shot, then I don't. I still believe that would be more viable. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
So I just want to know, to you as the general public, what do you think if we did something like that, or if they offered something to that effect? Everyone has the same dots, same 12 feet, and the 15-foot now is more of an extra point kind of thing versus muddying the waters altogether at 15, 12. You throwing it 12 distance, I'm throwing it at 15, that kind of thing. So and it may be a dumb idea, but just put it out there and tell me what you think, and let us know. And by the way, like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications, because we plan to be talking about a little of everything, including Waddle, and so absolutely chime in. It's your boys, Misfits. All right, so then if you can edit that out, I appreciate it. So you can post that.
Did you end it?
Mr. Cool. Cox, what do you say?
We're gonna keep going.
I practice 15 feet a bit. I'm too honed in to change that. Yeah, absolutely. And for me, I'm not going to change my my 15-foot my 15-foot change to 15-foot throw in right now, because it's a moot point. The new year isn't here. I have bigger fish to fry right now. I have some things to improve, and I would like to get it better for the new year. I mean, for the Pro-Am, and potentially get into the Worlds. So it's a little too early for me to be even talking about 15 feet. Once the Pro-Am is over, and if I have not made it to Worlds, or if I did make it to Worlds, once that's over, then I will focus on practicing from 15 feet. But I will tell you right now, I'm going to start as an amateur to start, but I will absolutely practice at 15 feet, because I don't want to get caught slipping in the event that I have to play it. Or hell, what if I've done so good and I've made the cutoff on the amateur side, and they said you got to go advanced?
Yeah.
And then I want to be ready to jump in and not be embarrassed. Plus, I would love to play in the Pro League Series tournaments, and I know the only way to do that is the 15-foot. But again, I know for me, I'm the minority, because because we're one of few people who want to get to that upper echelon. Everybody else is throwing for fun.
Yeah, definitely. Waddle, if you're looking for spokespeople,
Yeah, absolutely.
we're here. We'll discuss anything. We love talking, obviously, as you can see, but even with the ideas, And
anybody, if you talking to Tyler or Lane or anybody that's out there, show them the video, talk to us, and ask them to reach out to us. And we're certainly going to try to reach out to them. I know they're the big fish, and just have an open dialogue with us as the little guy and them as the big fish, and help us understand, because the reality is that's what we're looking for. We're looking for clarity. We don't really want to argue. We just want to get it. We want to understand what will it take to keep our sport alive, because I just got in this sport and I don't want to see it go away. I would love to see it flourish. I felt sad because one of my favorite venues is already closed or closing, and so
Closed.
Yep, well, closed.
Sunday.
So and that's obviously not necessarily because of Waddle. That's other factors that went into that. But the point is that I would love for us to be able to have a conversation. So if you guys would be willing to reach out to us, or us, if you want us to reach out to you, just say something in the chat when we post our video, please. And
send us comments, send us messages on Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely, because I certainly want to have that conversation. And I'm going to probably reach out to one of them at least tonight to ask them to open up some dialogue with us. Especially after we post the clip that we just talked about.
I might even reach out to Mario and see.
And just see if they'll be willing to come on and talk to us and have a conversation. And so again, guys, put the word out that we're having a discussion. I don't think any of us want to see the sport fail. I don't think any of us want to see it fractured. I think we just want some clarity.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think that would be a big help.
Right, because right now I'm terrified of the numbers going down. I'm terrified of somebody, like I said, like a Brian Cox, who's a all-world talent, who, again, would be discouraged because he's the only one throwing from 15. It's not even fun for him anymore, you know? And then
basically practice, which he can save the money and do at home.
That's right. So at the end of the day, like I said, that's what I don't want to see, and that would overall hurt the local venue. So that's my 2 cents. Keith, anything you want to add before we go?
No, I mean, I think we, basically hit it on the head. It's tough,
Yeah.
It's really tough. Hopefully, we could get this, what you see here, not even this, just what we just talked about, to certain people to then push it up. Because I do agree, if you go to the right person and get a little bit of backing, things can change and things will happen. But it also takes us as a group to get behind it and to do it, and not do it out of spite or pettiness, but to do it out of out of our hearts, to say, hey, not to throw shade, not to be mean towards anybody that voted on this or anything, but to say, hey, look, this is not for us. Why don't you guys listen to what we have to say, and then let's make a change, or or don't change, or, maybe, like we said, there's needs to be another email or something to get the word out there, and maybe leave it open for 2 months, month and a half.
Something. That
way, people could spread the word, because obviously the Waddle community talks. The Waddle community talks a lot. And nothing's really secret. Well, I shouldn't say that. The Waddle community talks, and we all talk. We all have ears. We all listen, and we all like to be heard. And we all are heard from what I've seen so far. I mean, when we go to venues, you and I, and we give them ideas, they're accepting of it. They're taking it. When we say, hey, it'd be cool if we did this, or hey, it'd be cool if you guys did that, they're doing it, and I feel like that's where we need to keep that in mind, and maybe just be patient. Maybe something's going to come out in the future. Maybe we'll hear something at the Pro-Am. Okay. Maybe they'll drop a bomb on us at the Pro-Am and be like, hey, gotcha, April Fools, which I don't know when they came out with the rules, but if it was in April, you know what I'm saying? Or hey, this was just a joke, which would be messed up, or if they just said, hey, we've heard everybody's gripes, we've heard everybody, because Pro-Am would be a big stage, and a lot of people would be watching, a lot of people would be there. So if they turn around and said, hey, we've heard you guys, and looked at us, basically stood up and told everybody that was there, we've looked at you guys, we've listened to you guys, we're going to hold off on the 15-foot, or we're going to do it.
Well, that's what we're hoping. Like I said, hopefully, once we post the video that we talked about, and I have no idea what the mile marker was on there.
Yeah, so I'll find it.
But once you find it and you post that, then we will tag Tyler and Lucas and ask them, hey, will you join us for a discussion?
Yep.
And we'll see how we can facilitate that, even if we have to pre-record it so that way nobody feels ambushed. I'm cool with that too.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
I mean,
but anyway, guys, thank you for joining us for tonight. I know this is out of sync because we normally go on Wednesdays or Thursdays, and we had to jump on this topic because it was near and dear to our hearts, and we believe it was near and dear to yours. So we definitely want to have the conversation. So we're looking forward to it. And so I'm gonna sign off. And Brian, I'm gonna probably be reaching out to you. So right after this, because I'd love to hear what you got to say about all of this.
yeah.
All right, that's it, guys.
Thanks everyone that was in. Share, like, subscribe, and